Hi guys, this video will be an It Halloween clown nails. I used acrylic to do this and I'll be using my alpha brush to do this set. One of my favorite brushes. I do have a link below if you're interested. And it is a number 9. I'm also going to use the rest of this young nail monomer. I did almost finish it and I love it. It's my favorite. I have to restock. Now instead I'm going to be using the Nuni Nails acrylic monomer. It is a pink monomer and it does leak. That's why I sealed it. This monomer is super fast drying, so beware. I struggled at first because I forgot it's been like 8 months since I used it. And these are going to be the different color acrylics I'm going to be using. The first set you saw is my own mixes. This is Cuccio and it is also Glam and Glitz, OPI Absolute. They're all going to be listed below. And my favorite clear Mia Secrets acrylic. I always put it in a smaller container. It's easier for me to work with. And my favorite Mia Secrets forms. These are awesome and super long for nice long slim nails. Now this is how the hand is. I cut the nails so that they look extremely natural and short so that I can be able to use the forms. And I just removed a little circle. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. It really depends. I always pinch the end first. It's what works for me, and then I open it and I slide it right in. It slides smoother. It works better for me if I do this. With the mannequin hand, it's a little bit harder because, as you can see, that type of adhesive does not really stick to the silicone 100%. If it was a client, it does stick to their skin, so it is a lot easier to work with the client than it is a mannequin hand. But I figured sometimes when there's enough on top, you can always close it and it seals just like you see. Sometimes it doesn't, it pops open. You can use the little circle dot to apply on top. Now I'm using the Protein Bond from Young Nails, my favorite to use when I use acrylic. And I'm applying this just so it could adhere better to the realistic hand. And I always hold, anytime I use forms, I like to hold them most of the time like this. It just makes me feel like it's secure. It's not moving anywhere and it's not budging. Now when I go in with the first bead, I wouldn't say drain, but I remove most of the liquid in a paper towel. The back of the brush is what I apply to the paper towel, which removes a lot of the liquid so that it's a little bit of a firmer ball. Now you can go in with a little bit less liquid and then more powder if you know your ratios, but sometimes I work so fast and sometimes I'm just in the zone listening to music or doing something else that it's just easier to just go right on the paper towel and remove any excess liquid. And it just makes it easier. That way when you apply the bead, it doesn't just go everywhere. And that's usually a problem with forms that a lot of people struggle with, is keeping the shape so when you remove it, you don't have that extra filing to do. So that is something good to keep in mind. And I don't apply the clear acrylic all over the nail. This is just a base. It's something so I can apply the colors I'm planning to do right on top. And I do it very, very thin. It is always your choice how you want to do it. You can completely sculpt them with the forms and then just apply polish on top, regular or gel. But I am just working it in very thin layers. I just like a nice thin base. And as you can see, sometimes it gets sticky, and when it does get sticky, you got to clean your brush on a paper towel. On a clean paper towel, go back into your monomer and then clean it again in the paper towel before going back in the monomer and then in the powder. It is what works for me to keep your brushes clean. So you want to maintain that, because if you don't, you'll get little acrylic stuck in your brush, and then by the time you're in your second or third nail, you'll have a hard piece of acrylic that cured in your brush, and it's a little annoying and a pain in the butt. So you want to keep it as clean as possible. And I really didn't know what length I was going for. I just kept going and then I realized that's perfect right at the end. That way I don't have to be worried about where to stop. I just keep going until towards the end. And that is how it came out. It's extremely thin. I just wanted it, like I said, as a base, nothing crazy. And I just move it to the side so I can make sure that I don't break it or mess with it. And then I go into the next nail. Like I said, I apply the Protein Bond, and I only show 2 nails because it is exactly the same steps. I move around the form so that it's nice and soft. So when I slide it in, and then I just pinch the end, it's what works for me. And honestly, I'm trying to remember who I saw this from, and I think it was Ninja Nails on YouTube. I'm pretty sure that's who it was. And they did that, and I've always struggled to try to align them straight. That was my issue. So I realized it's easier to align it first and then slide it right into the nails and making sure, you will see right now there's no space between the nail tip and the form, and that is what you want. If there's any gaps or space, then you'll get acrylic bunched in there and it would just be a pain to have underneath the nail. And I'm just showing you how straight it actually goes in. There's no space, and that is exactly what you want on your clients, and of course when you practice on your mannequin hand. And I'm just holding it stiffly so it doesn't move or budge. And I'm going to do the same steps. Go in with clear, and I don't, like I said, do the full nail because this is just to get the end, basically the tip formed, so I can apply product on top. Now, a good way to know when it's time to remove the nail forms is to gently tap on it with the back of your brush, like the actual stick part of your brush, the handle. And if it makes a clicking noise, then you know that it's ready to file and to remove the form. Also, another way to know if it mattifies a little bit, you'll see a glossy and then it'll just mattify a little bit, and that's when you know that it's ready and able to be filed on and remove the nail forms. You can also pinch the nails when it is just barely mattifying, not completely matte because it will be too hard, but you can pinch the nails that way and squeeze them either with tweezers or whatever you have that you want to pinch them with. I don't personally pinch them, but you definitely can if that's the look you're going for. Now that all my nails are done and I did forms on all of them, I'm going to use my 180 grit file to gently file. And I am not filing to have a nice crisp line. I'm really not. I'm just cleaning off the edges so that when I apply product on top, it doesn't build up even more on the sides. Now, like I previously said, I use Nuni nails monomer, and it's been about 8 months since I've used it. I've been only young nails because that's just my favorite. But I was like, you know what, before I go and buy more, why not finish this and not waste it? And I didn't realize how fast it was drying. I did not remember that. Honestly, it's just been so long, and you will see me. My nail is gonna look fat. It's gonna look chunky and thick. But hey, we live and we learn. As you see, I'm applying the red, and you're gonna see how quickly it just dries. That's it. It's like dried already. There's no blending, especially because this nail is supposed to be an ombre nail. I was like, what did I do? I was like, I can, you know, cut off the nail, remove it and soak it off, or I can just work with it and show you guys that you can always fix any nails. So I'm like, you know what, it is what it is. Let me just keep going through with it. And I try to work even faster. After I apply that, I keep working fast, and I'm still working really fast here, and it's not blending. And yes, it is my own glitter mix, but it does the same thing with the black I'm going to use. That is from Cuccio, and it is their dip powder that I'm going to use. And as you guys may know, dip powders are a lot finer, like they're grind so fine that it's easy for them to move, sometimes even overly move. And look, I just apply it, I just pat it down really slowly, and I turn my brush over to brush it down, and it doesn't budge. So I'm like, okay, my problem. I was like, live and we learn, right? I remembered now, okay, this monomer is very fast drying. And like another thing that also affects it is the weather. So depending if it's too hot or too cold, that would affect it. So I'm just like I'm gonna fix this. This will get fixed and you will see it. It will look chunky and big and you would be like, what the heck? But I fixed it. So we live and we learn, and we remember what products we use. I always try to remember what you use. And if you haven't used the product in a long time, I always recommend practicing with it or using it before working it with your clients. That is something that I didn't really do a lot of, because I always stuck to what I knew on my clients, and every product I got new, I would test it out beforehand just to make sure, because you never know. I mean, if it's new, you don't want to right away try it on your client. Try it on yourself, try it on just a fingernail tip, anything, to make sure that it is great consistency, that it's going to be workable, that it is to your liking. Because if you're like me, you have stuff and then you see new stuff and you want to get it, but then you forget what the old products work like, then always test it. Like I said, it looks like a hot mess, but I fix it, guys. I will fix it. I keep going, I keep adding, and I probably shouldn't keep adding, but my mindset was, I'm just gonna grab my drill bits and I'm just gonna file it down. So if I keep adding, trying to blend it, when I file it down nice and even and smooth, whatever is left will be an ombre effect in some way. It's going to happen, because I've done this before and it happens. So I just kept going. I was like, we will fix this and you guys will see. But yes, just wanted to let you guys know, because most of you will probably see this and be like, huh, interesting, and others will just be like, oh my god, what is she doing? But I fixed it and you guys will see. And then from this nail, moving on to the next nails, you will see that I grab a lot less product so I can work a lot faster. So once I got the hang of it and understood what was going on, I was able to move along and keep going with it. And it happens. I mean, why erase stuff like this when you have an accident, And this is the art decals, the water decals that I'm going to be using. It is a clown one. So I got these from AliExpress. I'll see if I find similar, or if I find them and link them down below, but it does take like about a month to receive them. So what you do is you cut it out, remove the top plastic, like the one that covers it for debris and powder and all that, and then you leave it soaking inside a little bit of water. It has to be like room temperature water, and you leave it soaking in there. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to make the base black just to try to blend it in. Like, I wasn't sure what I was gonna do at this moment. I just know I wanted to put that decal in there, because I am horrible at hands-on, like, drawing. I cannot draw to save my life. And I was in fashion school, so you would think I would know how to draw, right? But no. I mean, maybe if I took the time to learn, but I don't. And I knew I wanted to put this decal, but I didn't want it to make it be seen as a decal. I wanted to be, seen like, wow, this is awesome art. Like, I wonder if she painted that. I wonder if she actually hands-on did this. That's the kind of, look I was going for. So now you remove it. There's like a plastic paper behind it, and you remove it from that. You let it soak in the paper towel a little bit, because it is water on there, and if you put water on top of acrylic and then put acrylic on top, it won't seal. So you got to make sure you fully dry it on the paper towel. I gently press it down. It won't rip unless you're very harsh with it. Gently press it down. Then I grab one of my lint-free wipes and apply it on top to absorb any moisture, any liquid, anything else. I want to make sure there's nothing in between my acrylic layers so that it doesn't pop or jump off. As soon as I lay it down and it is exactly where I want it to be, I start figuring out what colors I want on top, and I decided, why not go for glitters? I saw the mark that the nail water decal has by the eyes, and I kind of wanted to make it seem like it was dripping everywhere. So I did the glitter. I was moving it around and just kind of digging little pots in between, because I didn't want it to be fully red. I still wanted to see some black in there. And you always want to make sure you leave most of the decal showing, because that is the point of what you're doing. You want to show the design or the picture of it. And I also mixed some of this like black, gold, and some silver glitter. It is all mixed in there, and I'm just grabbing clear acrylic. That's why my brush is going to the far right, because I'm going into clear acrylic and then I'm going into the glitters. These glitters do not have acrylic in them. These are just loose glitters that I mix myself. I do have glitter mixes that I make with acrylic, but I also like to make them without because I want to have that option to use with gels or gel polishes and all that other stuff. And I just keep cleaning it, moving it around until I find the placement that I want. And before it dries, you want to clean the cuticle, you want to clean the sidewalls to make sure that you don't leave it too lumpy and have too much filing like my previous nail. And yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing in the video. I just keep moving it around until I am happy with the design. Okay guys, so this nail is going to be a black nail. These type of nails, the black nails that you see, those cool designs, take up so much time and patience, to be honest with you. But I just love the outcome that I'm willing to go through the process of it. And I just put a nice bead in the center. I wanted it to make it kind of like a rectangle shape, if that's what it's looking like. But I should have cut it after I applied it. I should have cut it and shaped it with my X-acto blade. I didn't, so by the time it dried, I had to file it, which takes a lot more time. But while that's drying so I can file it, I move on to my index fingernail. And with that one, I wanted to do kind of like a smoky nail. It's my first time trying this. I've seen it everywhere and I've been wanting to try this so bad. I watched a video a while back. I probably should have rewatched it to make sure, but I just sometimes like to just go with the flow and whatever comes out. And as you see, I'm mixing clear and black. So I did clear and black first, and then I went in with the full black bead towards the cuticle to bring it down, which is probably how I should have started. And I keep going back to the clear and the black because I want to make it very pigmented towards the cuticle and just drag it down so that it's clear and smoky. I didn't want to make it full on clear smoky. I wanted more dark than anything, and just a little bit of smokiness coming down to the tip. And like I said, this is my first time trying it, and I don't think I did that bad. I mean, I think if I did more of a square shape or coffin shape, you would have seen more of it. Since it is a stiletto pointy nail, there's not a lot towards the end, or maybe I should have brought it more towards the cuticle to show off more smoky. But I do like the darker, you know, the more black and barely any smokiness. And with this nail, after I am finished with this design, you can encapsulate it, but I do go in with some spiders, some little 3D gold spiders. I wanted to do something else to pop in there, and with those gold spiders, when you move them left and right, they flicker really nice. So I thought that was really nice. Now while that's drying and setting, I'm gonna move right in to my black nail, and I just file it to shape it. You can use a smaller file actually, and I do use it towards the end of my video because it is easier to file on. When it is a client, it is very hard to do black nails if you don't use some sort of blade, which you will see me use after this because I don't know how I forgot about it, but I did. And now I'm moving with my different colors. Normally I always do either angled black nails or very straight nails. I don't really do crazy designs and levels and shapes in my nails, but since these are Halloween nails, I was like, let me play around, see what I can come up with. And another, see, this is the blade I'm talking about. If you doll this blade up, you will make some beautiful black nails, and that is what I highly recommend. And you want to doll it up, like I said, because if you don't, you will cut into the nails and it hurts and you will make them bleed. So you want to be very careful. These are still blades, and I'm just cleaning off any white that went onto the black. I can always file it off. You don't need to clean this off, but I'm just making sure. And I didn't know where I was going with this. I just kept going until I was like, okay, this looks nice enough, this looks nice. And like I said, always, you know, have in mind to use some sort of blade or to cut it really nice to save you some time on filing, and to also make it nice and crisp lines. My lines could, after seeing this, I'm like, okay, there's some lines that I was like, I could have been sharper. But like I said, you just got to remember to always use the blade. I don't know how I forgot, but sometimes I forget, you know. I don't do these kind of black nails all the time. These are rare and they're mostly for my videos. So always keep that in mind and just keep working. Once you know when to cut is when the acrylic starts kind of not being as glossy anymore. That's when you know to start cutting into the acrylic. If you wait too long, it's going to be hard and you're going to have to sit there and file. Now I go back and I encapsulate all my nails that are ready, which is my pinky, my ring finger, which is this one. And this is when you want to make sure you have a nice little apex depending on the nail length. This is a mannequin hand, so I did do a little apex, nothing too crazy, but if it was a client, I would make sure I do a very strong apex, because you want to make sure they don't break and that they last a long time. And if they jam their nail anywhere, you want to make sure that their natural nail stays on their finger and that they don't injure themselves. So that is exactly what I'm doing. So I keep working. I don't just wait for each nail to be done. I move on to the next step to save time and energy and all that good stuff. So that is what I'm doing. Now I do have two damping dishes. I have one for colors and one for clears. You can use just one and just really make sure you clean your brushes. But if you just use one and you're more newer into this, you will dampen the monomer and it will leave the clear layer that you're doing on top very cloudy and not crystal clear. So you want to just make sure your monomer is clean when you're encapsulating. And this is where I'm adding my spiders that I have, and I just put a little bit of clear acrylic. I apply the spiders and I press down because I wanted to make sure that it's as flat as possible. I don't want any bulk to my nails. I want to definitely avoid that. And I move around until I'm satisfied to where I want them. I was even thinking of doing some glitter, but then I thought that would take away from the smoky effect. And that is that. And now I move on to my other black nail, and I found this glitter mix that I had in a really small container, and I was like, you know what, I think some gold would go perfect with this nail. Now I did skip some steps. That is because my camera died. So I record with my phone and I didn't realize that my phone had died. It doesn't tell me it's gonna die, especially when I record. I have it on silent so that the notifications and all that stuff doesn't bother the video. And it died on me, and I didn't realize until after I got into this gold color. So I do apologize for that, but it is the same steps. I just keep adding different colors. I did the solid red, the glitter red, and I needed something else. I felt like it was kind of going into a bland look, so that is when I decided to add this gold into it, because the spiders are gold and I wanted to bring it in. I didn't want it to look like it didn't go together, if that makes sense. So you can always change it up and add more colors or take away from colors. And that is all I'm doing throughout this video. I do fast forward just because it is the same exact steps over and over, just different ways of cutting it, different colors. And I do apologize in advance. I was off camera for a few of these. I need to stop that, but I do apologize. I'm really trying to work on figuring out what kind of camera I want and having something where a screen so I can see it while I'm working and not having to look over, like standing up and look over my phone to see if I'm off camera or not. And I also had previously like placed things in my table so that I know that if I move away from here, I'll be off camera. But with all this moving around and stuff, I do end up moving them and placing them in the wrong places. So like I said, I am sorry that I am off camera in some of these, but it is the same exact steps with different colors that I will be doing. Finally finished the black nail. So since I finished it and it is more on the bulky side, I want to make sure I put a very thin layer of clear just for any gaps or any missing parts, and definitely always encapsulate the glitter. Even if there's just a few glitter spots in there, those are the ones you want to seal. So then when I go in with my nail bits, which is right here, I'll link it down below, I want to make sure that I don't go crazy removing chunks of the glitter. So I let my nail bits do most of my work. I really love using a nail file. It just makes it easier for me than sitting there and hand filing. So I try to make sure I file the sides, make sure the cuticle is nice and thin, underneath the nail is nice and clean, and that is exactly what I do with all the nails. Now I don't show the whole filing because I take my sweet time with this, and it would be like a 2-hour video. So I don't show full on. I usually show 1 or 2 nails of my filing, hand filing, and with my drill bits, and it is in medium to fast speed. And as soon as I'm done filing with my nail bit, I go in with my hand file and do the shaping. Shaping will change your entire nail set. Like, you can have such a glam nail set, but if the filing is not on point, you can tell. And when your filing is on point and your nail design or whatever is so basic, your nails will still look so good because filing has a lot to do with it. And I do plan on making a video on that as well. So that is all I'm doing, and my nail file is 180 grit. I know I get asked that a lot, and I do get them from Tony's nail supply store. It is here in Texas. Another tip is always flipping the client's nails facing you to make sure that they're shaped to perfection, and that is an awesome tip that works amazingly. And as soon as I get them to where I want, I did gently buff them, and I wash my hand. I wash it with soap and I clean it, and then I dehydrate it with alcohol. That's all I do. And I do end up applying crystals just to the pinky because I felt like the pinky was a little bit too, I don't want to say simple, but it was a little too simple compared to the other nails. The other nails were like bam bam bam, so I wanted to like blend it in and mix it. So I just put some glue, base glue, and apply the crystals, and after I apply the crystals, I go on and put the activator to dry the nail glue. Finally done. I'm gonna use Model 1's top coat. I really do like this top coat. It is very nice and thick and I love that, and that is what I'm gonna be very generously applying to my nails. And I also apply it especially on the smoky one underneath because it is transparent towards the tip, so you always want to make sure you clean the bottom of it and then apply top coat as well so that it is as crystal clear as possible. But this is how the nails are looking right before they are going to have a top coat. And this is the outcome of the It nails. So let me know what you guys think. If you like this, what is the next nail set you would like to see? I'm thinking more of the orange Halloween nails, or maybe even like green purple type of Halloween nails. Let me know what you want to see next. It would definitely be Halloween nails, but I'm still figuring out the color scheme that I want to go for. This is more of a vampire kind of clown dark nails, but I really hope you guys like it. Thank you guys so much for watching.